Well, my guest tonight with me in the studio is Marlon West. Now, for 3 years, Marlon would spend his nights driving around Greater Manchester looking for his teenage daughter. He was convinced she was being sexually exploited, but he says no one would listen. His daughter Scarlett waived her right to anonymity to try to help others in the same position. Marlon, thank you so much for coming in to see us at the UK Tonight. Big day this. Been a long time coming, this report. What did you make of what was said today?
I think it was appalling. I disagree with the review. I don't think anything's changed. I agree with Maggie Oliver. In my experience, nothing has changed, and there's still cultural attitudes towards these girls who are being groomed.
Well, you wouldn't think that. Hearing from the Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police, Steve Watson, today, he said it's shocking, stark and shameful. We could all agree on that. But he said lessons from our past have been well and truly learned and solidly baked into systems used by police and partner agencies today. Frontline officers are better trained in child safeguarding. Now, because of what you and Scarlett have been through, you speak to other parents.
I speak to a lot of parents.
Whose children have been through this, are going through this. And Scarlett, still not out of this today. She was 14 then, she's now 19. What's the experience you've got at the moment about the way things are today? So
this has left Scarlett traumatised. It's gone from one extreme of going missing all the time, not knowing where she is, with now isolating herself in the bedroom. And mental health clearly needs some work. She hasn't been offered any support. She was under CAMHS, but because she's 19 now, it goes over to adult mental health services. She has not been offered any therapy for complex trauma.
Marlon, you've been living this for the last 4-5 years. Talk to me about what happened to Scarlett, because, you know, as part of this report, they were looking into the victims of these grooming gangs. And the preconceived idea is that these were young white girls from impoverished background, from different disadvantaged backgrounds. Scarlett was not. No. And your message is, look, you know, don't disregard this as a news item you see and think it could never happen to our family. It can. Talk to me about what happened to Scarlett. So,
pre the grooming, she went to quite a prestige school. She had her own horse. She would go to her horse every night after school. At weekends, she would go riding. And then the grooming started. I guess initially, I just thought it was her age. Then as she started going missing, and that increased and increased, which was really out of character, then alarm bells were shouting out at me. I try and gain support from local authority, from the police. That never happened. To the point that, yes, I was driving around. I was driving around till 4 a.m. in the morning, looking for her, ringing the police. The police were saying, yeah, we'll find her with you. I'd find her at a property, and the police wouldn't even turn up.
You would call them and say, I know where my 14-year-old daughter is.
I'd be outside the property.
And they wouldn't turn up?
They didn't even turn up.
Marlon, you felt that you were then seen as a nuisance by the police because this happened more and more frequently. I mean, let's remember, Scarlett is 14 years old. If a 14-year-old girl goes missing, this should be treated as a matter of priority by whatever authority you call. But because of the frequency with which this was happening, because she was caught up in grooming with gangs of men, you felt that the more it happened, the less seriously you were being taken. What was it like dealing with the police and the local authorities? How were you and your family treated?
Appallingly. The stress that I put myself and the extended family, it caused a lot of frictions. So it's not just about the impact, obviously, it's having on Scarlett, but the wider picture.
Of course.
It was so frustrating. I would go to strap meetings and the police would clearly tell me to stop reporting her missing. When she was 14 years old, I reported her missing in that year 58 times. And when she went missing, yeah, sometimes it'd be for a night or two, but sometimes it would be for a fortnight. She's 14 years old.
People watching tonight will often watch a report like the one from Jason just now about this and go, where are the parents in this? Where are the parents in this? The parents are right in it.
Yeah.
You're just not getting the support. The scale of this problem is now known. The reports highlighted that. Do you think it's prioritised now? Because that's what GMP is saying.
No.
They're admitting failings and they're admitting indifference amongst local authorities. But they're saying, you know, children are now being prioritised. This is front and centre.
Absolutely not. Not in my experience. I was seen at some points as a bad parent because I couldn't keep my daughter indoors. Up until 12 months ago, she was still being groomed, which is quite recent. And again, in my experience, the police were not supportive and neither were local authority. One of the frustrating things that I found with the police and local authority is they don't communicate. There's no communication, there's no joined up thinking between the two services.
You have asked the police for information about how they dealt with your calls, your complaints, your requests for help. Because, yes, this report has come out and there have been convictions, 9, but this report says, you know, there are 96 men identified in this report as being arrested children today. You know, it seems like this report has only just scratched the surface. What do you want to happen to those who failed you and, more importantly, failed Scarlett?
I want a full investigation, which is what I've been asking for.
So like a full public inquiry, because we're focusing on Rochdale and the North West, but this will be happening in other parts of the country.
This is national. I speak to people all over the country, from Northern Ireland to London. This is happening all over the country, and possibly not the great word to use, but it's kind of a trend that these young girls and lads are being groomed. Not just sexually, there's criminal elements to it. And I do believe that they both come together. I would welcome a national public inquiry because where's it going to end? And
how was Scarlett treated in all of this? I mean, we've spoken about how you were treated by the police, but what about Scarlett in her dealings with them? Because, of course, you know, child safeguarding is paramount in good policing in this instance.
So one example is there's a period where she was missing for 2 weeks and the police did track her down, only because I told them where she was. They went into the property with the groomers and texted me and said, your daughter is safe, and left her there at 14-year-old. Again, the impact it had on her. Then as time went on, you know, she was strip searched.
At 14?
A 14-year-old. And again, Scarlett recognised that as a punishment because she was causing them a problem. The way they spoke to her, there's lots of occasions when they've turned up at my property and they're shouting at her for going missing. I don't think that's a positive intervention. When the chief constables tell me that they've all had specialist training.
Marlon, we know Scarlett is still dealing with this now at 19. This began when she was 14. She's still very much going through it now. And I think that's an important point to make in terms of when children are finally taken away from these situations, it doesn't end for them or families there, does it?
No, not at all. There needs to be more interventions with parents and supporting parents. For example, I would give the police intelligence and then they would say we're not allowed to take intelligence off the police. Now, when I'm saying intelligence, I'm talking car reg numbers, what I've got off my CCTV. So I was offering hard evidence and then refused to take that from me.
Marlon, you and Scarlett really have been through it and we really appreciate you being so brave to speak to us. Scarlett has spoken to us, and our home editor, Jason Farrell. She bravely waived her right to anonymity, and I'm so sorry that she's still struggling today, but as we spoke before we came on air, the chink of light in this is that she's still so young, and there's time for her to process this and hopefully go on to a better and brighter future. So we wish the best for Scarlett and for you, Marlon. Thank you. We will keep in touch because the story is by no means done yet.